In the previous video, we explored those areas of peer review which have remained unchanged for 2018. However, there are also a number of processes that have changed in response to the NESA requirements in regard to the quality of teaching and student engagement in the learning, as detailed in Section 5 of the RANGS Manual. Previously, registration of schools through the peer review process focused on minimum compliance with some regard to the quality of student learning. The process for peer review in 2018 should be read in conjunction with the information as outlined in Section 5 of the Manual. This section of the Manual commences with the following. In deciding whether the requirements for the Education Act are being complied with in relation to a registered non-government school, NESA will have regard to matters relating to the quality of student learning. Under the Education Act, such matters may include, but are not limited to, the standard of teaching in the courses, student engagement, and any matters identified in a risk assessment. Importantly, therefore, we are instituting some changes to the process of peer review in line with NESA's focus on the quality of teaching and student engagement in the learning. Each school will be asked to complete a curriculum declaration form on certain aspects of compliance, and it will cover the areas that are reviewed at peer review each year. By doing this, there will be less time spent at peer review tables on items of minimum compliance and allow more time for table discussions on quality of teaching and student learning. As a result, the documentation and the table discussions at peer review will include a number of focus questions. In presenting their curriculum materials, the presenters will need to explain how these questions are being addressed by the KLA and by the school. And this way, peer review will look at what is being done in the curriculum and how well it is being done in the curriculum. And these discussions will inform the Google Doc reviews on areas of commendation and areas for recommendation. So how will it work? A folder has been created for each school, and this will be shared with the school 7 days prior to peer review. It will contain a copy of the PDF compliance guide, which is already on the OSCAR page, to assist with peer review preparation, and it will contain the curriculum declaration forms for the areas being reviewed. In this case, the sample school is being reviewed on Stage 3 HISI and Stage 3 Religious Education. School principals will be asked to work with their teams to complete the minimum compliance areas in the curriculum declaration form. For example, the scope and sequence here, the areas in red are the minimum compliance areas that need to be completed before peer review. In this way, time will be freed up at peer review for the focus questions. Schools will also be asked to upload scope and sequence programs and assessment plans for peer review. Primary and secondary schools will also then use their compliance guides for the preparation and at peer review. And the compliance guides will have sections in red, and these sections will have been completed prior to peer review, and there will be sections in black. And the sections in black are the areas which will be completed at peer review on the table discussions. And they will include focus questions on the quality of teaching and student engagement in the learning. For example, in the teaching programs, there is the focus question, how do the literacy, numeracy and ICT strategies assist student learning? So it's not just seeing that they are in the program, but how they are being used. This will not be a determinant of compliance, but will form the commendations and recommendations section to assist schools in planning to improve their teaching and their student engagement in the learning. So we need to go back to the areas of what happens before peer review, what happens on the day of peer review, and what happens after peer review. School teams need to make sure that they have read the RANGS manual and the rest of the OSCAR page. They use their primary or secondary compliance guides as templates to prepare their materials. The items in red on the curriculum declaration forms will be completed prior to peer review, and the items in black will be presented at peer review. Principals will also use their principal checklist to present materials for the day. On the day, schools will still present scope and sequence, assessment plans, teaching programs registers and evaluations, student records of achievement, work samples, resources and equipment. As in the past, if there are any areas of compliance, these will be discussed with the school leadership team on the day itself. Teacher table discussions will include the focus questions on quality, and as we've said, these will lead to feedback by reviewers on areas of recommendation and compliance that may be used to assist schools for future development. The same happens after peer review as has happened previously. There will be an informal report and tracking sheet which we use to create the formal report. There are still spot checks which will occur during 2018, and there will be 2 primary and 2 secondary which will occur this year. Again, please familiarise yourself with everything on the OSCR page, familiarise yourself with the RANGS manual, familiarise yourself with the important documents. And as we've said, there are only 4 important documents: the primary compliance guide, the secondary compliance guide, the curriculum declaration form, the principals checklist. Thank you for your time.